Welcome to Wildly Capable with Kate, a podcast made for those looking to unleash their wildest capabilities. I'm your host, Kate DeRocher, a dating, relationship, and self-worth coach on a mission to help people build better relationships, starting with the one they have with themselves. In each episode, we'll dig deep, turn inwards, and embark on a transformative journey. Together, we'll break free from unhealthy patterns, rip through self-limiting beliefs, heal past wounds, and build unwavering self-worth, all to create healthier relationships as a result. Get ready to explore the wild, untapped potential within you. Are you ready to see just how wildly capable you are? Subscribe now and join us on this empowering adventure. Remember, your wildest capabilities await. If you've ever encountered a narcissist, then you know firsthand just how awful it is to date one. It is absolutely soul-sucking and life-draining. So, let's chat about how you can identify narcissists so you can avoid accidentally dating them. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wildly Capable with Kate, the podcast made for those looking to unleash their wildest capabilities. As you know, I'm your host, Kate DeRocher, and I'm a dating, relationship, and self-worth coach. And that means that I have not only encountered narcissists in my own life, but I meet people every day who are in relationships with them, trying to get out of relationships with them, or trying to heal from their relationship with them. And all of the above are extremely challenging, extremely damaging to your self-worth, to your life, to your relationships, to your job, everything. So I wanted to record this episode to help us all understand how we can even identify if somebody is a narcissist. And then by identifying them, how we can make sure we do not get into another relationship with them. So let's talk about it. First, though, I want to let you all know that I'm currently taking on new coaching clients. I offer full coaching programs, ongoing coaching once you finish up a program. I also offer what's called breakthrough sessions, which is a 2-hour call where we really dive in and we address as many things as we can and give you as many tools as we can within those 2 hours to achieve your dating or relationship or self-worth goals. If you're interested in coaching, I would love to meet you. You can head to my website, coachkatederocher.com, click on the little button that says work with me, fill out my coaching application, and then I will reach out to you if I feel like we are a fit, and we will chat about all things coaching. I'll explain your options, how coaching works, and just help you get to know me to see if I'm the right fit to even be your coach. So head to coachkatederocher.com. It is life-changing work that we can do together, and I would love to get you started on doing so. Okay, back to narcissists. This is a term and a word that I talk about all the time, and it's sometimes gotten to the point where we use the term narcissist too freely. So in this podcast, I want to address and talk about what actually qualifies somebody to be a narcissist, the different types of narcissists that there are, and how we can identify if somebody truly is a narcissist so we don't fall into the trap of being with one. In my own life, I believe at least that I have dated a few narcissists. I can't actually diagnose them. I can't fully say that they were narcissists. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not somebody who can diagnose other people. And I especially wasn't back then. Back then when I was dating them, I was a much more hurt and wounded version of myself. I was not who I am today. So I definitely couldn't fully identify it, but I did see a lot of characteristics. And we all honestly have narcissist characteristics within us. But the difference between somebody who is an actual narcissist and somebody who just has some unhealed, wounded tendencies that come out is that there are 9 traits that determine if somebody is a narcissist. And to be a narcissist, somebody has to contain 5 of those traits. So 5 out of the 9. I'm going to go through what each of those are, and it can just help you become more familiar with them so you can start to spot them in somebody. And in all honesty, you don't even want to date somebody who has those tendencies, even if they aren't a true narcissist, if they are not aware of their flaws and if they are not actively working on overcoming them and healing them and being a healthier more whole version of themselves, you still don't really want to get into a relationship with somebody like that. So whether they have all of the traits, all 5 that they need to be classified and diagnosed as a true narcissist, or if they have some of the tendencies, but they are unwilling to work through them, still probably not a person you want to be in a relationship with. So what are those 9 traits? Number 1 is that they have an exaggerated sense of self-importance and superiority. Narcissists tend to have an inflated view of themselves. They exaggerate their achievements, they exaggerate their talents, they really think the world of themselves in a not healthy, confident way, but in a really arrogant way. And they expect to be recognized as superior for their traits, for their inflated view of themselves. They expect other people to feel the exact same way and to celebrate their achievements and their status and everything as if it is this like really impressive thing that deserves celebration. And oftentimes a narcissist doesn't actually have the achievements to back that up. It is an inflated view of themselves. It is not grounded in reality. Number 2 is that they have an excessive need for admiration. They constantly seek validation, praise, attention. They are doing things to put themselves in the center of attention. They are doing things to get people's kind words, to get people's praise, to make people think that they are deserving of it and even better than they are. They constantly need that validation from others. The third of the 9 traits that determines whether somebody is truly a narcissist or not is a lack of empathy or a lack of interest in other people's emotions or needs. This is kind of a hallmark trait. People know this one pretty clearly. It's when somebody is only out for themselves and when they don't care about how their actions affect somebody else. They are only interested in getting their own needs met, getting their own emotions cared for. They don't care about anybody else's needs or emotions or feelings or opinion, to be honest. Narcissists actually have difficulty recognizing other people's emotions, and they definitely also, on top of that, don't care about them. Now, a narcissist is really good at faking like they have empathy and pretending like they really care. In fact, they can often be so good at it, they can be so charming and convincing that we think they are just the most kind, loving, caring person ever. But oftentimes that is an act that they are putting on because they know that that is what other people want to see. It is not from a genuine, true place. Number 4 is a sense of entitlement. Narcissists believe that they deserve special treatment regardless of whether they have earned it or not. I dated this guy back in 2021. I've talked about him in other podcast episodes. He was the most damaging relationship I've ever had. He is an example of what I believe was truly a narcissist that I fell into a relationship with. And he had this insane sense of entitlement. We would go to restaurants or be in social situations or even just in the way he treated me, where he expected people to like treat him like he was a god, to give him everything and to give it to him without question, without pushback, without making him pay, things like that. He thought he deserved everybody's attention and for them to just basically like bow down to him. And when they didn't, he would get actually angry. He would become really explosive or catty or petty, say biting remarks, mistreat the waiters, mistreat me. He really, really expected special treatment. Now, he was a lawyer, so I think that is part of where his sense of entitlement came from. You know, he had the impressive degree and the impressive job and yada, yada. So he used that as reasoning for why other people should treat him better than they treat others, why he deserved the special treatment. Number 5 is that they are obsessed with fantasies of power, success, or beauty. They are constantly thinking of ways to achieve personal power, to have power over others, to be seen as being the smartest in the room, the most intelligent, of being the most beautiful, the most attractive. That is what consumes their thoughts and their life. They are constantly seeking ways to increase their power, success, or beauty, or at least cause other people to believe that they have a higher sense of power, success, or beauty, even if they don't. A lot of times in narcissists, it's all smoke and mirrors. They portray themselves and get other people to see them as something that they are not through their words, their actions, manipulation tactics, through deceit, through lies. because they are so preoccupied with being the best, the smartest, the most powerful, the richest, the most successful, the most beautiful, the most attractive. That is what drives them. They are preoccupied with those fantasies. They are obsessed with those fantasies. The sixth trait that defines if somebody is a true narcissist or not, if they are a diagnosed narcissist, is that they are often envious of others, or they believe that others are envious of them. Narcissists often feel jealous of other people's success, power, beauty, fame, all of the above. And in an attempt to deal with their jealousy, they instead pretend like everybody else is jealous of them. Like everybody else is out to get them, like because they are so amazing, there's a target on their back, but they are in reality extremely insecure and jealous of the other people around them who have what they perceive they need to have to earn love and recognition and power. So they are extremely jealous of other people, and as a result, they believe that others are jealous of them. Next up is exploiting behavior. Narcissists will use other people to get what they want. They use other people's money, status, fame, reputation to achieve their own goals. They will throw somebody under the bus. They will use them. They will walk all over them. They will exploit them to get what they want. Narcissists view relationships as transactional. They see it as a way to get whatever they are seeking. So exploiting behavior, that's number 7 on our list. Number 8 is arrogance and superiority. Narcissists tend to come across as extremely arrogant, and they belittle others to build their own sense of self-worth, to make them feel better about themselves. I'm going to go back to the guy who I just gave an example of. He really portrayed this one. He really portrayed number 8, arrogance, where he would cut other people down around him. He would cut me down to make it seem like he was better than us. He acted like he was better than us. He used words and actions to make it seem like he was the best and we were nothing. He would belittle me. He would cut me down, all to make himself feel better. So extreme arrogance. A healthy dose of arrogance is one thing. Being confident in yourself and your abilities, that's great. But when it becomes arrogance, that's when it becomes a problem. And for narcissists, it is an extreme sense of arrogance, an extreme belief that they are the best and that they will cut down and hurt other people to seem like they are the best. They will make remarks. They will say little offhanded, belittling things. They will be extremely condescending, so that way they can act in a way as if they are superior to you and other people around them. My ex did this so much. He would make little snide remarks about my appearance or my job or my personality, all in an attempt to make himself seem better. At the time, unfortunately, I wasn't aware that he was doing that, and I took it to heart, and I would become really just like hurt and upset, and I would believe him, and I would let him say those things to me. Now I know that when somebody constantly needs to cut you down, it's simply because there's something broken going on inside of them. It has nothing to do with you. And last but certainly not least is manipulating or controlling behaviors. A narcissist can manipulate a situation or a person to get what they want, or to cause other people to think higher of them, or to believe them over the other person. They can be extremely manipulative. They know how to play the game, and they do it really well. This manipulation can show up in a lot of different ways. It can look like gaslighting. It can look like lying. It can look like pitting two people against each other to cause them to turn to the narcissist. There's a lot of different things that a narcissist can do to be manipulative or controlling. And a lot of times it's really hard to spot because they, like I said, they're good at it. They know what to do. They know how to play this game. So number 9 on our list of the 9 traits that shows if somebody is a true narcissist or not is manipulating and controlling behavior. So there you have it. Those are the 9 traits that are actually in the DSM that a trained therapist would use to diagnose somebody with narcissistic personality disorder as being a narcissist. So we need to be really careful not to just constantly throw that word out for everybody who portrays or has a behavior or a trait that we don't like. Because there are true narcissists in this world who are actually causing a lot of damage to people's life. Narcissistic abuse is real abuse, and it leaves really lasting effects on somebody who's been in a relationship with them. NPD is a personality disorder. It is something that needs to be diagnosed, and it's diagnosed with these 9 traits. So having a general awareness of these 9 traits is important. Not so you can go around labeling everybody who does or says something that you don't like, but so you can pay attention when you are starting to get to know somebody, when you are entering a relationship with somebody, and see if they have one too many of these traits, and it's going to lead you down a bad road. It's going to lead to an unhealthy relationship. And like I said, there is a difference between having these traits and working on them, and having these traits and being completely unwilling to address them or to acknowledge them or to admit that you have them. That is a true narcissist. Narcissism is really hard to diagnose. I believe only between 1 to 2% of the population is diagnosed with narcissism. Instead of just us saying they are narcissists, they go to a mental health professional and they are diagnosed. It's really hard to diagnose it because most narcissists will not admit that this is going on. Again, that goes back to their sense of superiority, of needing to be the best, of needing to be perceived as the best. They're not going to be able to admit that there may be something within them that is harmful and damaging and not the best. So actually diagnosing somebody with NPD, it's pretty rare and it's pretty challenging. So I want you to at least be aware of these 9 traits so that way you can just take a step back if you notice them too much in somebody else in an unhealthy way. Because being in a relationship with somebody with NPD has lasting effects on you. It is actual abuse that takes time to heal. When you are in a relationship with a narcissist, so many adverse consequences happen. When you are constantly manipulated, gaslit, lied to, over time, you lose touch with what reality is. You lose touch with what is true and what is not. You lose yourself. You become so twisted up in their games and in their lies and in them making you feel like you're the bad person that you actually cannot discern between what's valid and true and what's not. And that, losing your sense of identity, losing your sense of reality, that takes a long time to unravel. You lose trust in yourself through that. And that has lasting consequences even after you are out of the relationship. You don't know how to trust yourself to identify these things in future relationships. You don't know how to trust yourself to get out of the wrong relationships. It has extreme consequences. You feel confused, anxious, twisted up. You can't make sense of left or right. And not to mention, you lose a lot of your self-esteem when you are in a relationship with a narcissist. Because what the narcissist is doing is they are belittling you. They are playing the victim. They are causing you to believe like you are the one in the wrong, and you blame yourself. You hate yourself. You get angry with yourself. You feel shame. You feel shame over the things that they're saying that you're believing. Or if you are aware that their gaslighting, their manipulation, their lying isn't true, you then feel shame and guilt and anger towards yourself for not being able to leave the relationship. And let me tell you, you are not able to leave not because you are unaware or stupid. You're not able to leave because you are being abused. You are being manipulated. And they know exactly what to say or do to suck you right back in. And it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage to get out of a relationship like that. You're not dumb. You didn't just fall into this. You're not stupid. You're being manipulated. Give yourself grace because that's the only way you are going to be able to get out. Narcissistic relationships can also lead to a lot of codependency and enmeshment. Enmeshment is where there's an extreme lack of boundaries, where lines are blurred, and where two people just become too involved and a part of each other's lives. There is no independence anymore. You are codependent on each other in a way that is not healthy. Codependency in relationships, like you need to have a healthy amount of dependency in your relationships. You need to be able to rely on the other person. It's healthy to be able to turn towards somebody else and to know they're going to be there. But codependency, that is different. Enmeshment, that is different. That is where you become so dependent on the narcissist, on the abuser, that you rely on them for your sense of self-worth. You rely on them for even your physical safety, for money, for shelter, for a place to live. You are completely dependent on them in a way that you have lost yourself. And again, that is hard to break free from, especially if they are paying for your life. How do you get out of that? How do you pick yourself up, get a job, get your own apartment? That adds a whole other layer of dependency. So that's why it's so important to become aware of these traits so you do not allow yourself to give everything to this narcissist, to completely lose yourself to this abusive relationship. Narcissistic relationships also lead to what is called trauma bonds. And I've done a whole episode on trauma bonding. I believe it was the second episode I ever recorded because I have been in a few trauma bonds in my own life, and I saw firsthand how much they depleted me, how much they destroyed my self-worth, how much they hurt me, and then hurt my future relationships because I was so wounded and couldn't trust people. So head back to my earliest episodes and find that one to learn all about trauma bonds. It is basically where you become addicted to the narcissist, addicted to the abuser, because of the cycle of highs and lows that they are putting you on. It becomes an emotional roller coaster, and you actually form a chemical dependency on that person, a chemical addiction to that person in your brain. It's actually scientific. So head back to, I believe, episode 2, breakdown of trauma bonding, so you can understand another side effect of being in a relationship with a narcissist, and another reason as to why becoming aware of these things is so important. Other really difficult things that happen when you're in a relationship with a narcissist is being isolated from friends and family, losing all other relationships because the narcissist is isolating you so they can better control and manipulate you. On top of that, you can become extremely afraid of criticism or conflict. You are so scared of bringing up issues because you know that if you do, it will lead to a really explosive fight, or it will lead to a lot of cruelty and meanness from the narcissist, from your partner. You also become emotionally exhausted. You lose your identity. You lose your self-worth. And being in a narcissistic relationship leads to long-term psychological effects. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is a result of narcissistic abuse. Narcissistic abuse is one of the things that can cause PTSD. Back in 2017, I was actually diagnosed with PTSD from my first high school relationship with a man who completely abused me, and I lost my complete sense of self-worth and identity in him. So I was diagnosed with PTSD, and it took me years to heal that PTSD, and sometimes it can still be triggered. So there are long-term effects to being with a narcissist. It also leads to anxiety, depression, trust issues. Narcissistic abuse is something that takes years to heal. So let's become aware of these traits and let's remove ourselves from relationships where they could be prevalent. Healing from a relationship with a narcissist is 100% possible. It just takes time. It involves rebuilding self-esteem, rediscovering your personal identity, recovering from manipulation, lying, abuse. It can be a long journey, but it is 100% possible. If you are listening to this and you are in a relationship with a narcissist, or you just got out of one, I want you to know that there will be some healing involved. There will be a journey that you are about to embark on, but it is completely doable, completely possible. You can come out the other side. But that's why I'm even creating this episode, is so we can know what those traits are, so we can become aware of them, and so we can not enter relationships with narcissists. So we cannot accidentally fall into relationships with abusive people. Become aware of those 9 traits. Pay attention to them. See if the person is aware of maybe some areas where they're lacking or areas they need to work on, and if they're willing to actually do that work. If they're not willing, and if they have all those traits, especially if they have, a good majority of them, you need to take a step back. You need to get out now before it gets too serious. You need to not fall into their manipulation, into their tactics, into their conniving, deceitful, convincing words and actions. Pay attention to those things now before it's too late. Now before you have to heal and go on the journey that I was just talking about that can take time, but is absolutely doable. If you are in the stage of recovering from a narcissistic relationship, please reach out to me. I've been there. I've healed from narcissists. I had to get over a narcissistic relationship, like I said, back in 2021, and I saw the lasting effects it had on me. I saw the effects it had on my mental and even physical health, but I was able to heal it. I was able to dive in. I was able to process everything that had happened and release myself from the guilt and the shame I was feeling from even falling into that trap in the first place. It's 100% possible. It's so possible to experience health and safety and security and beautiful relationships, both with other people and internally, after being with a narcissist. So if you are ready to unravel all of those threads, if you are ready to rebuild your self-worth, then reach out to me for coaching, or we can do a breakthrough session and we can really get in there and figure out how to get you out of this mess. Reach out to me on my website, coachkatederocher.com, or contact me on Instagram or TikTok. My handle is @CoachKateDeRocher. I'll have you fill out a coaching application, and then we'll get on a discovery call and see if coaching is for you. I have been there. I know how damaging this is, but I also know how possible it is to see complete healing and transformation after this. So this is your sign. Get out of that relationship. Don't give up hope. Don't enter that relationship if you're seeing these things. Protect yourself, protect your heart, and choose something healthier. Reach out to me for support. I'm here for you. Again, head to my website, coachkatederocher.com. Fill out my coaching application, and we will set up a call. You've got this. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you the education and the awareness that maybe you didn't have before. I know when I listened to a podcast like this that broke down what narcissism even is and what those traits are, and it changed my life. I can literally remember walking around Venice Beach, California with my dog, listening to a podcast, breaking down those 9 traits that I just broke down for you and being like, oh, check, 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 check. I couldn't believe how many of the traits the guy I was dating, this was even a different guy than the one I've been talking about. This was a guy before him. Couldn't believe how many of those traits he had. And whether he was a true narcissist or not, whether he would actually be diagnosed or not, the amount of traits he had were completely destroying and damaging me and my life and my self-worth. So no matter what, I had to get out of that relationship. And I would not have gotten out of that relationship had I not become aware of what was happening. So I hope this gives you the awareness you need. I hope it gives you the strength and the answers and the clarity that you're seeking to either not get into this relationship or to get out of the one that you're already in. I've got your back. Reach out to me, fill out a coaching application, and let's do this together. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you can feel the passion that I'm feeling about this episode because it was such a big, difficult part of my life to heal from narcissistic abuse, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys next week on Wildly Capable with Kate. As always, I so appreciate your support. Please be sure to like, subscribe, send this episode to friends who also maybe need to know this information. Your support means the world to me, and it really helps me get this show out to the people who need it, just like us. So thank you guys. I will see you here next week. This is Wildly Capable with Kate. I am your host and your coach, Kate DeRocher, and I will see you here soon. Bye, everyone.